I had a very brief relationship with a woman named Carla that resulted in the birth of my now pre-tween son, Ashton. I'm gay and had never been with a woman. In fact, I'd never even kissed one until I met Carla. She had just gotten a divorce from her husband, Chris, because he wanted kids and she didn't. My relationship with Carla didn't last and confirmed that I'm definitely gay. We were both shocked that she got pregnant, though. We agreed to co-parent and signed a custody agreement that pretty much splits custody. Also, there's a first right of refusal in that agreement. Carla and Chris reconciled and remarried when Ashton was a preschooler. Personally, I like Chris. He's very good to my son. My son hugs and kisses him just as much as he does me. Chris doesn't turn down any chance to spend time with Ashton. I don't have to worry about Ashton if Chris is there, because he'll get him where he needs to get, bathe him, feed him, and he has endless patience. I like that my son has these hands-on male caretakers. Carla was scheduled to have Ashton from Thursday to Sunday of this week. She mentioned that her cousin was in hospice, and she was flying to another state to be with her. I said, "You can't take Ashton out of state without my written consent." She said she wasn't taking him. Chris was going to watch him. I told her that this was news to me. We agreed that if either of us was unavailable, then the other parent needed to be notified and given the option to pick up more custody time. I'm obviously not going to turn down more time with my kid. She said that Chris had planned a 4-day vacation to a water park. I said, "I don't care." She said, "You know what? Talk to him. I've got enough on my plate right now." So I did. And Chris said he didn't see the big deal and joked that there wasn't enough Ashton to go around. He then seriously suggested that I become a big brother so he could spend more time with Ashton. I told him he's got me messed up, and now I'm canceling this water park trip. He told me he was joking, but he wasn't. Then he asked me to go and parent another kid so he can parent mine. I was taken aback by it. So Ashton's with me, and I feel bad for Chris. I really do. But between that comment and not going through me with Carla going out of town just angered me. I feel like I've been too nice. Am I the idiot for canceling a weekend plan after I was told to mentor another kid? Edit. My son doesn't know about the water park. It was going to be a surprise. And to be honest, this boy's been to several amusement parks this summer, so it wouldn't be new to him. If Carla and Chris had run it by me, then I would have said yes. Chris doesn't care that I'm gay. He loves my son, who has gay genes in him. Carla said that being pregnant was the worst experience of her life, and nothing like what you see on TV. So she got her tubes tied before remarrying. As to why I'm being selfish, Ashton has already taken 2 vacations with his mom and Chris. They spent 2 weeks in Greece and took a week-long cruise in Cabo last month. I've been very accommodating, but now I'm expected to give up more of my time. Oh, heck no. Chris can go get his own child. Big brother, my foot. We have finally seen the face of Chris. Not the idiot OP. Lawyer time. These people are about to start phasing you out. The goal of this couple is to pretend that OP never happened, that the kid belongs to the couple that's married. I'd be nuts by now if I were OP. I'm wondering if Chris is infertile and if this was all a convoluted plan to have a baby. That was my thought exactly. Ashton is the child Carla wouldn't have with Chris. I'm guessing it was a big reason he got back together with her. That was his mistake. But Ashton is your son, not his. Chris is the one who should mentor fatherless kids to fill his void. When Carla comes back, you need to sit down and review the custody agreement to remind her that you have the right of refusal. Get it clarified now that you are and will be Ashton's father forever. Update. So Chris did reach out to apologize, and I accepted last night. He said he loves Ashton more than anything. In fact, he probably wouldn't even be with Carla if Ashton wasn't in the picture. He then asked if he could have Ashton overnight because he was going to take this other kid to Sky Zone and thought Ashton would like to join. I agreed. Anyway, Carla only remarried Chris because he has a trust fund. He gets about $10,000 a month. If my son wasn't in the picture, then he'd probably divorced Carla by now. I, 30 female, have a younger brother, Mark, 27, who's been married to his wife, Kate, 27 female, for 3 years. Mark discovered she had cheated on him early in their marriage, and they decided to make it work. Then last year, I walked in on her in bed with a coworker while my brother was away on a job. I found out from my brother afterwards that it was her coworker, and because I have the keys to my brother's home and had informed my sister-in-law over text several times that I was going to be heading over to pick up my truck that she had borrowed since my brother had the main car on a job trip, he again decided to make it work. A few days ago, Kate and Mark invited us over for dinner. During the dinner, they made an announcement that Kate was pregnant. I immediately pulled my brother aside and asked if he was sure it was his. He said yes. The night went on, and he must have told her I said something because she made a scene saying, "I'd just like to know why you hear good news and have to turn it negative," calling me out in front of everyone. So I simply said, "Because he's my baby brother, and you're a known cheater." We started arguing, and she kicked me out. Later that night, my brother texted me, begging me to apologize to keep the peace. I feel like I started with respect. I pulled my brother away. I didn't make a scene. She was vindictive. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your brother will learn sooner or later that cheaters don't change. What is the saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Bro is a fool for taking her back the second time. She clearly learned nothing, except that she can get away with it. She was so offended by that OP's bro should at least be concerned. If the sister-in-law was confident that the baby was the brother's, she wouldn't have lashed out like that and made herself even more suspicious than she already was, unless she, likes being dumb. Please, for the love of God, make him get a paternity test done. I think there's absolutely no reason to stay with someone who cheated at least twice that you know of. I mean, let's be real. If she cheated twice and got caught, I'm 100% sure she's done it at least a few more times where she didn't get caught. Your brother deserves better, and it's too bad he doesn't see it. She would have been banned from everyone's house if that were my family. No one in my family would sit idle with someone we love, allowing a person to treat them that way. I disagree. You didn't make a scene? She was the vindictive one? Sure, okay. You seem to ignore your part in this. Calling someone a runaround because they've called you out publicly isn't vindictive and making a scene. You definitely played your part. You picked a bad time to ask him, so you're not innocent. Everyone's the idiot here, except your brother. We have 3 kids, and when they were almost young teens, I started making one of their chores about finding something to do. For example, make your bed, put dishes away, and find a chore. So the kid will look around the house and find a chore. It can be anything. I really did this to teach them to see if something's dirty or needs fixing, and they can go and do it without needed instruction. Sometimes the kid picks something small, like vacuuming a rug. Other times they pick something, not realizing how big the task is, reorganizing the game room, for example. Anyway, it teaches them to figure out what needs to be done, and then do it. Overall, my oldest kid, it only took her a little bit to do this. My son just turned the age when I began implementing this process, and he's struggling. I'm trying to get him to understand. He got so frustrated today that he couldn't see what needed to be done in the house, that he locked himself in his room. I tried to have him write a list of what he thought could be cleaned in the living room. It didn't work. My husband is angry that I'm giving them mental load chores and calling me an idiot. We had an argument, and really, I am just trying to help their problem-solving skills. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This is a hugely valuable life skill, and it'll help fend off weaponized incompetence. But different people do see things differently. Instead of having him write a list about what could be cleaned in the living room, did you try doing a walkthrough of the living room and making it a discussion? Having examples pointed out could make it easier for him. The magazines are scattered across the table. Stack them. There's dust in the corners. Vacuum. The shoes are spread across the entryway. Put them in the shoe rack, etc. I find it funny that your son is struggling and your husband is angry. The mental load disproportionately falls on women and girls, but girls aren't born knowing how to do it. They're taught and conditioned by their families and by society. I would die on this hill with your husband. Continue teaching and expecting this of all your children, but make sure you're tailoring your lessons in ways that each child learns best, so it doesn't become a negative that they rebel against. You are the idiot. I don't think mental load is the problem. It's that you're expecting your son to read your mind. You look at the rug and think it needs to be vacuumed, but he might look at it and think it looks tolerably clean. You look at the table and think it needs to be organized, but he left that book there because he's going to resume reading it in a half an hour, and he left that cup there because he sips water throughout the day. Basically, you're mad that he doesn't have the same standards as you. Well, he's not you. He doesn't have to internalize your OCD standards. Sure, you're the parent and can make him do chores, but tell him what the darn chores are instead of insisting on him being a clone of you. As someone who struggled with the same thing and was diagnosed at 30, you are the idiot for dismissing the idea of ADHD. My son got married a few years ago. He lives on the other side of the country than us. He got a great job opportunity after college, so he moved down. 2 years ago, he got married to Jenny, and from what I heard, it was a beautiful wedding. So the whole issue started when we were trying to get there. The wedding was on Saturday, and our plane left on Thursday night. Well, it got delayed and then delayed about 4 more times, Friday morning at this point, and then all the planes got canceled due to a storm. When that happened, it was clear we weren't leaving, and driving there would take too long, and we would still miss the ceremony. So we informed him, and he was angry. We sent our well wishes, and we could FaceTime in if he wanted. He said no, and we saw a video of him getting married. The present day issue is that whenever we get into an argument or he wants us to do something, he pulls up the "we missed his wedding" card. We were talking over the phone. We were talking about hosting Thanksgiving this year. He got mad, saying, "Why won't you visit us?" And I told him we didn't have the money for the trip, and we just visited him 2 months ago. We got into an argument, and he pulled the "you missed our wedding, it's the least you could do." I told him enough, and that he needed to get over it. He called me a jerk. My daughter learned about it as she's on our side, but I don't know. I know my son wants us to visit all the time since he doesn't like his wife's family. He generally misses us for the holidays, but he'll never fly up to see us, and we have to go to him. He keeps talking about moving back. Edit. Yes, we looked into other airports, and the planes were grounded also. We're from Maine, and the storm was going through our state and then riding down the East Coast. It basically blocked travel for 2 days. We thought about driving, but we decided we wouldn't be able to do the 37-hour drive. We didn't feel like it was the safest option since the storm was happening, and it was a super long drive without brakes. Not the idiot. It sounds like you and your husband made all reasonable efforts to get there, and it just wasn't going to happen. I would have still driven at least to get to the reception and celebrate, but that's just me. That being said, that's a big milestone moment you missed, and it will take time for him to get over it. He must find a way to make peace with the situation without lording it over you forever. Or OP's son could grow the heck up and realize that the entire travel industry is not required to bow to his whim. How he could continue to bellyache about his parents missing his wedding when the weather caused the issue is beyond me. I never would have expected my parents to get to my wedding if the weather was so bad they were grounding planes, or to try to come anyway and drive 37 hours in dangerously bad weather. I could never forgive myself if something bad had happened to them. Yes, I'd have been disappointed, but to keep bringing it up years later? Why is he so butthurt over this? Is there more to this story? OP, you didn't skip the wedding. Weather prevented your arrival. It's a bit late to do it, but the first time he tried to pull the "you missed my wedding" card, I would have said, yeah, we were pretty angry at you about that, but we try to forgive you for the fact that your choice to move so far away caused the situation that led us to miss it. It sounds like he's made some life choices, moving away, that negatively impacted his happiness, and he's taking his frustration about that out on you. My wife and I have been arguing about this for days, and we're at an impasse. It's gotten to the point where I have to check my cameras at work to ensure she doesn't move her sister in while I'm at work. My wife has a sister, Jill, who has a storybook memory. She regularly recounts events in her life that are heavily exaggerated or straight up never happened. For example, she tells people she has a business degree and gives financial advice when she only has an associate degree and has never worked in financing. She also brags about playing basketball in high school and her team going to state, but losing to this rich school. Spoiler alert, she didn't play basketball in high school and didn't have the coordination to dribble a ball and walk, much less run and shoot it. She also tells tales of being mistreated by her parents, which I doubt based on my personal involvement. For example, we celebrated Christmas with my in-laws, and she posted on her social media about how her mother yelled at her in front of people and told her to eat less to be less fat. I was in the same house with her for a week and never noticed anything like that. The only time I witnessed a confrontation between her and my mother-in-law was when my mother-in-law told her to flush the toilet. She recently made accusations against her employer for being mistreated on her social media instead of going to HR. Someone told on her, and the company did an investigation that included recordings that disproved her story. I don't know the details, but I know she was let go. Now that she's jobless, she can't pay her rent. Jill brings drama wherever she goes with her tales of being mistreated. I work hard, and home is my sanctuary. I don't want her to bring any drama to my sanctuary, which brings us to the present. My wife argues that her sister has nowhere else to go. I pointed out she has several other siblings and parents who refuse to take her in. I understand and love that my wife is a compassionate person, but she can't save the world, and I have to draw the line somewhere. I feel bad that my wife cries over this, but not bad enough to allow the emotional tornado that is her sister to live with us. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your sister-in-law will move in and never leave. It'll be a nightmare for you. There's a reason that no one else will take her in. Actually, it sounds like multiple valid reasons. The sort of person who will make up easily disprovable claims about her employer, then post them online publicly, is not stable and will tell lies about you as soon as you become inconvenient in any way. In fact, we know this is the case because she has a history of doing exactly that. This explains the whole problem in a nutshell. OP's sister-in-law could, and probably would, make up accusations that would wreck his life and could likely involve law enforcement. Or if he has children, she might make up things that would get them removed from their home until the charges were proven false. She likely knows he doesn't want her living there, so she might target him to remove him from his home. Protect yourself, OP. There's no upside to taking a chronic liar into your home. I know this is taking a toll on your marriage, but actually doing this could destroy it outright.